Hello everyone, Lisa Moore here. Just leaving the gym, walking home. Wanted to give an update on our 18 unit. Just give an update on squatter situation, vacancy, rehab, all the fun stuff. So, John was actually just out there last week? Not even 2 weeks ago. But overall, the project is pretty much going as expected. I do have to update the financials for the last month, but been on budget, actually a little below budget. We'll see where we find the numbers come in. But overall, it's going as expected. But a few shit shows were also expected. So we'll start with, rehab stuff. So every unit that can be rehabbed has been rehabbed. We got all of them done. The first handful, we took a wall down at the kitchen. We did not do that for the rest of them because we were finding, one, it just didn't end up being worth it. There was, and I know I've shared this on other ones, but it just ended up being more work than expected of stuff that was in the wall. So for the second half of ones, we did not take that little wall down. And it was a little wall. I mean, I don't even know if it came a foot off the wall. So we still added more cabinets and a dishwasher into the kitchen, but we had the fridge on the opposite. So the kitchen is kind of in its little area. We kept the wall and we just put the fridge on the other side. So, that was pretty much the only change that we made with the rehabs. We didn't have to do any baseboards, but when the time comes to have to do baseboards, one of the other buildings, they own about 10 of them. What they've been doing is they've been using the plastic, like commercial baseboard that actually looks pretty good. I like how it looks in their unit. So when or if we get to a unit that needs baseboard, we'll probably use that plastic commercial baseboard instead of the wood baseboard or the whatever the material is, the like compressed wood type stuff. My mind is blank right now on what it is. But so that's the rehab stuff. They all looked great. We did granite countertops in all of them. And we've done as much as the interior rehab as we can do. The doors, we painted the doors, and interior and exterior doors. And the exterior doors already look like shit. The paint we used is not holding up. We wanted to have a color just to give it some pop and just not look so drab. And from what John said, the paint that we had used with that color just wasn't a good enough exterior paint. So we switched to a different paint, just doing them white. They look much better. The color was just peeling and they just looked like crap, and it didn't take long to look like crap. So switched that out as well. We've been doing all the balconies. So the balconies all needed to be painted. Some of them may have needed a new board replaced here or there, but overall all the wood on the flooring of the balconies was good. We just needed to paint it, give it some loving. As I've said, the prior owners were your stereotypical, just complete slumlords, horrible freaking operators, dishonest shit people. So, needed a lot of loving, but they look much better. And a few of them we needed to just kind of secure a little bit more. But like I said, overall, I think John was saying it was maybe an hour's worth of work per balcony, if even that, pending. The longer ones I think were maybe an hour, maybe a little more than an hour of start to finish to get them painted and one or two pieces of wood replaced. So most of those are done. We still have a few more of those to do, but all the ones that we really can do at the moment are done, which is good. The other exterior, just getting on rhythm with the lawn. We were using our property manager, and then it wasn't getting mowed, so we had our person do it. So there was kind of some back and forth. Probably a little bit of fault on ours of not being very clear in our communication and expectations of what we wanted done with the yard, of when and getting it taken care of and that stuff. So we finally getting that taken care of, and now we're on good cadence with that. They're taking care of it. We don't have to worry about it. And we have had somebody kind of checking on it saying, yeah, it's been getting done. So that's good. That's taken care of. And these are things like when you're buying something and stabilizing it, there's always going to be a lot to do, especially with something like this where we have had to deal with a lot of crap tenants, and it's just been a lot of work, which we knew. So, yeah, nothing ever goes smoothly, but all the yard stuff is now getting taken care of. And we've actually talked to the owners of some of the other buildings next to us, and I'm going to call her when John was in Chicago. He actually went over and met with the manager and stuff. So I'm going to connect with her, because in the wintertime, shockingly, the person that owned our units didn't have anything plowed. So our property manager, I have to communicate with them, make sure that they know come this winter, we expect them to take care of all the shoveling and all the sidewalks. And then I'll work with the other owner, their property manager, to see who they have plow, and just have that same company come and just plow our whole side. So it just makes sense. Their plow people have been doing it for several years, have the same people do it. It makes no sense to have a separate person come in. So and their plow person, because we were there a lot, January, February, March, and their stuff is always taken care of. So we'll connect with them, make sure that's taken care of. And yeah, that's bugs. So back to the prior slumlord, never doing anything, and just having disgusting tenants. We are dealing with cockroaches still. So we've had them come in several times, but it's going to take several times, probably several more treatments of making sure that the units are getting bombed, and there's the bait traps and all that stuff. It can take a while to get rid of, and they're just like the little cockroaches, and they just move around and whatnot. So that's something that we are still working on getting rid of and dealing with. So hopefully all of our new tenants will be cleaner and not create a perfect breeding ground and habitat for cockroaches like the prior tenants did. So that's probably one of the bigger, I think that's probably the main tenant complaint right now, is the cockroaches, understandably. So we just last week had every unit, the whole building taken care of, but we probably will have to do that several more times just to make sure all those nasty little critters are dead. So and yeah, I think that's the bulk of that stuff for the main kind of regular maintenance stuff. And then getting our units rented. So we have, out of the 18 units, 14 of them are now rented, which is great. Not all of them have moved in yet. There's still, I'd say 4 or 5 that will be moving in either August or September. But it's awesome that 14 of them are rented. We got the leases, everything. I don't know if they've gotten like security deposits and first month's rent yet, but so there is a chance that maybe 1 or 2 would drop. Hopefully not, but as of now, 14 of them are done. The remaining 4, 2 of those we just filed an eviction on. Obviously, knowing that they didn't get out, it's easy to say we should have just evicted them months ago, but our property manager overall did a really good job actually of working with the tenants, getting tenants out, negotiating cash for keys. One of the tenants hadn't paid rent in months. I think they were $6,000 or $7,000 behind, and I don't know how our property manager did it, but the tenant finally realized he was going to get evicted and had kids, didn't want to get evicted, didn't want to have to move his kids, got all caught up and has paid on time since he got all caught up and signed a new lease. So the 2 that we're evicting, obviously now it's easy to say, oh, they didn't get out, we should have just evicted them, but we did want to give our property manager some leeway because he was doing a really good job getting people out, doing the cash for keys, all that stuff. So those 2, and we'll see. They were both kind of saying the same things of, we're trying to get out, we're working on it, blah, blah, blah. And now, and of course, both have said they don't want an eviction on their record. Whether they actually get out now that we filed the eviction, we'll see. Who knows? Hopefully they don't take it through the full eviction. That could be 6, 8, 10 months, but obviously we won't know until we continue to go through that. So they should be getting all that stuff. So we'll see what happens with them. Hopefully they do get out, but again, it could end up going through the full eviction. So that's 2 of the 4. A third one is a unit below the squatters. So that unit we had rented, and on one of my other videos I talked about how when we were doing the final walkthrough inspection a few days before they were supposed to move in is when we realized that the squatters had some sort of water leak and damaged that unit. So we have been able to get the water leak at least stopped, and right now, we just got pictures, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. The drywall is getting fixed. It's probably getting painted today or sometime this week. So we should, by the end of this week, have that unit ready. So those tenants, we put them into another unit, one of the other vacant units. So once their unit's done, we'll move them back into their original unit. And so the third unit will be the one that they're currently living in, will be available for rent. And I don't know if they have anyone in waiting on that. I meant to ask that question. I just realized I didn't ask them, the property manager, that, the leasing agent. So find out on that one, but that's the third one. So current people are in it, they'll move into their unit, and then that one will be available. And then the 4th and final, the squatters. What's made this the exciting, fun project that it is. They are still there. We have done everything we can within legal limits to try and get them out, try and negotiate with them. We tried to do a lot. Cops have been there multiple times, called by us, called by other tenants, called by the squatters themselves. And the cops were like, you guys are squatters. You're here, like, it was a whole big thing. They have been extremely difficult for us trying to fix the water leak. We have had to have the cops there. We haven't been able to get back in. And it's just gotten to the point where it's like, we didn't file the eviction because there is a squatter bill that is getting passed in Illinois that basically states what they are. They are criminals. They illegally broke into the unit, changed the locks, and are there. They're trespassing. And the squatter bill will now allow us to get the squatters out without having to go through an eviction. And it's just for squatters, not tenants. So if it was somebody that ever had a lease, so like our 2 people that we're evicting, they had a lease. The squatter bill will not cover them because at one point they did have a lease. They're just not paying the rent now. So then we still have to go through the normal eviction. But these squatters are legit squatters. They never had a lease. They broke in. They changed the locks. So the bill basically states we can get them out. The cops can come and remove them immediately. So the governor announced, I think it was last week, that they're going to be signing the bill. We were all excited. We thought it went into effect immediately. Apparently, it does not go into effect until January 1st. So, yeah. So we still have several more months dealing with them. And even if we had filed the eviction a few months ago, with as long as evictions take in Illinois, it probably would have been about the same time that the eviction would have been complete from when this bill will go into effect. So everything, and even the attorney we talked to, it seemed like everyone was under the impression that it would be effective immediately, and then it was, okay, this will be effective January 1st. Because even the attorney we talked to had said, I wouldn't file the eviction because as soon as you start the eviction paperwork, you're basically saying, yes, I accept that this person is a tenant, I'm going to evict them. He said, so once this law passes, we wouldn't be able to utilize it because we'd have started the eviction process. He said, I would not file the eviction, I would wait, so then that way we can get them out right away once the law passes. So, kind of shitty on that. There's only a couple of them in there now. At one point there was 7 or 8 guys. Now we think there's only 2 or 3. It seems like they're not causing as many issues. I don't think the cops have been called there for a few weeks now, which that's always, it's a good goal, a good accomplishment when the cops haven't been there for a few weeks. So it'll just be waiting on them. That unit is going to be disgusting. There's no toilet. They broke it. They've been not letting us in. I don't know if they're going to the bathroom in the tub. I don't know if they're leaving to go use the bathroom somewhere else. We don't know. And yeah, so, and that unit, when we walked, all the units were gross anyways. Pretty much, there's only 2 units that we didn't have to remodel. So it's kind of one of those, whether it's like the borderline, like, do we need to remodel this? Or, holy crap, this is gross, we definitely need to. It's a little more work to do the cleaning and whatnot, but ultimately, like, whether it's borderline or disgusting, if you're having to do new cabinets, new paint, new floor, all that stuff, like, it's kind of the same. This one we just might have to do a cleaning beforehand to get it not absolutely disgusting. But, and when we were there, all the bedroom doors were closed. They were freaking out, saying nobody's allowed to go into the bedrooms. Legally, we could, but it was just, there were 6 cops there. They were like, it was apparently just one of our guys was there and had it on speakerphone, and we just heard chaos. So, yeah. So squatters are still there. I am super happy though that Illinois is passing that squatter bill. So this will no longer be an issue going forward. If we have to evict somebody, it'll still be a long eviction, 6, 8, 10 months. But we knew that it's in our numbers. So, but overall, I know a lot of people kind of shit on tenant-friendly states, and I definitely can understand why. No matter what you do in life, whether you are a real estate investor, you're working a W-2, it doesn't matter what you do. You got to choose your hard. There's always, no matter what job you have, there are times when you're going to be like, this sucks, why am I doing it? But it's, what am I willing to deal with? What am I willing to put up with? A lot of people don't want to deal with tenant-friendly states because they don't want to have to deal with the long evictions and that type of stuff. I completely get it. For us, if it's in our numbers, if the numbers still work, we have a higher vacancy baked in. we're okay with it. Now, this, I will say, this is the first time that we've invested in a tenant-friendly state, so we'll see in 1, 2, 3 years how we feel about it, and if we decide to keep it, sell it, what we decide to do. But as of now, the stabilization has been about what we expected. Didn't expect the squatter. That's made for some entertainment, some good stories, but everything else has been pretty much as expected. So we've gotten really, really friendly with the police, the building commissioner, the city of Lansing, and I will say overall, we're super happy with everyone that we've been working with, everyone we've been dealing with. The city of Lansing is really doing a lot to keep the city from, just keep it nice, keep it from having these types of squatters as much as they can legally. I know they're excited that this bill is passing so they can actually come in and get rid of these criminals. But we've just been impressed with them overall on how they take care of the city, how they look at things and all that stuff. So as far as like the fundamentals in the actual market, I'm still confident that it could be it'll be a good investment. Obviously, we won't know that until we finish everything, refinance, get it fully stabilized, and we see what it looks like. So I'll be looking for a lender next month in September. So we have to be, it's technically like, I don't know, the first or second week of January, we have to be refinanced by, in my head, it's the end of the year. I'm planning on by December 31st, we have to have it refinanced into long-term debt. So in September, I'll start reaching out to lenders and sending them all the information, financials, what we've done, what it was, where it is now, because we're still probably going to have the 3 units, 2 that are getting evicted in the squatter. And hopefully that 4th unit should be rented pretty quick once those people move in. So hopefully it'll just be those 3 units. And, when I reach out to lenders, start to give them, here's what our numbers are, here's what rent, expenses, all that stuff, and start finding a lender, start the process, decide on a lender in October, and then that'll give us October to November, December, about those 2 months to get things done, finalized, and not have to be like crazy rush like it was when we were buying it. So that's the plan. And some of the 3 bedrooms were kind of a range of the lower end of my underwriting to middle upper end of the underwriting. So I'll be interested to see once everyone is in what the rents are, because the second floor 3 bedrooms, they are advertising at $1,600, which was on the lower end of my underwriting. The 3rd floor, because they're the 3rd floor, nobody above them, and they have tall ceilings, those were actually getting rented for, I think they're saying some of them are for $1,675, which is awesome. And then the 2 bedrooms, I think all of those were at $1,400. So the rent should be about right in where I was underwriting. And then some of the expenses I had mentioned before, like the trash, when we bought it, the trash expense was like $1,600, which is absurd. We have it now, I think it's $480 a month, and that's for one big dumpster. They pick it up twice a week. Electric, we converted, or gas I should say, we converted away from the gas boiler to electric heaters, and so our gas expense should be significantly lower come this winter. That'll be an interesting one when I'm working with the lenders, because they're going to say, well, I want to see historicals, and they're going to see this big gas expense. So we're going to have to explain to them, hey, we've converted everything to electric heat. We're not using the boilers anymore. So the one building still has them because we haven't flipped over enough units to turn off the boiler yet. That's one. So with the squatters and one of the eviction people, the other units, I guess in the one building, there's still one unit that has. The other one that we're evicting, they still have the boiler because they've been in there. They're an inherited tenant. But one of the buildings fully converted. second building, everything's converted except for 1 unit. And then the last building, only 1 unit's been converted just because we haven't gotten the other people out yet. So doing that, that's going to save us, we estimate at least $1,000 a month in gas expense, which is huge. So that'll be good going forward. So yeah, just seeing how all the expenses kind of fall into place, what the actuals end up being, what the maintenance ends up being, all that stuff. But like I said, overall, it's been going as expected. As expected with shit shows. That's how it's going to be when you're stabilizing an asset like this. So, yeah, and we'll actually be out there again in a couple weeks. So one of my friends that lives there that told us that we should look in that area, despite it being tenant friendly, she's getting married. I'm super, super excited. And excited to see her and her soon-to-be hubby again. Yeah, we're just excited to get out there, see them, celebrate their wedding, and then we're going out a couple days early just to go down, check out the properties. I haven't seen them since the beginning of the year, so just go, check them out, see how they're looking. We don't really need to do much there, so we're only planning on being there for a few hours, mainly probably just to record some content, do some videos, take some pictures of what they look like now. So, but if you do have any questions on anything, definitely shoot me a message, put them in the comments, and I'd be more than happy to answer any other questions you have or go into more detail on anything. And yeah, we'll keep you updated on these last 4 units and what happens with the refinance. So when I'm doing the refinance, there'll probably be more videos just to share what's going on with the lending, all the stuff we have to do, that process. So yeah, stay tuned and thanks for watching.